When you think of John Hammond, what do you see? You probably picture a sweet, misguided old man with a white beard and a warm smile. The eccentric billionaire who just wanted to show the world a miracle. In the 1993 movie, Steven Spielberg cast Richard Attenborough to play Hammond. Attenborough was so charming, so grandfatherly, that the audience couldn't help but forgive him when things went wrong. "I spared no expense," he says, with a twinkle in his eye. He is the heart of the movie. But remember what we talked about in episode 1. Steven Spielberg protected you. In Michael Crichton's original novel, John Hammond is not a lovable dreamer. He is the villain. He is a ruthless, arrogant, narcissistic corporate psychopath. He is a man who cuts corners, endangers children, blames everyone but himself, and cares only about his bottom line. And the most satisfying difference between the book and the movie. In the movie, John Hammond gets on a helicopter and flies away to safety. In the book, John Hammond gets exactly what he deserves. He is eaten alive by his own creations. Today, we are going to look at the real John Hammond and read through one of the most brutal, karma-fueled death scenes in horror literature. To understand why Hammond's death in the book is so satisfying, you have to understand how truly awful he is. In the movie, Hammond brings his grandchildren, Lex and Tim, to the island because he loves them and wants to share his magic with them. In the book, he brings them to the island as human shields. Hammond's investors are getting nervous about safety. So, Hammond flies his grandkids in to prove the park is perfectly safe. He literally uses children as a PR stunt, and he doesn't even like them. Throughout the novel, while the kids are out in the park being hunted by a T-Rex, Hammond is safe inside his heavily fortified bunker. Does he panic? Does he cry for their safety? No, he is annoyed. He complains that the kids are being a nuisance. And what about his famous catchphrase, "spared no expense"? In the book, that is a complete lie. Hammond spared every expense. He bought cheap computer systems. He underpaid his lead programmer, Dennis Nedry, practically blackmailing him into working for less money. He ignored the warnings of his game warden, Robert Muldoon, who told him the velociraptors were too smart and needed to be destroyed. Hammond views the dinosaurs as nothing more than biological theme park rides. He refuses to see them as living, breathing predators. When the park eventually collapses and people start dying, Hammond's reaction is chilling. He sits in his bungalow, eating his custom-made ice cream, and thinks about how he is going to fire everyone. He blames Nedry for the computer failure. He blames Dr. Wu for the dinosaurs breeding. He blames Ian Malcolm for being a pessimist. As his staff is being torn apart by raptors, Hammond starts planning his next park. He thinks, next time, I'll do it right. But there isn't going to be a next time. We have reached the climax of the novel. The survivors, Ellen Grant, Ellie Sattler, Ian Malcolm, and the kids have managed to turn the power back on. The worst of the disaster seems to be over. Hammond decides to take a walk outside his bungalow. He wants to get some fresh air. He is in a great mood. Why? Because he has completely rationalized the tragedy. He has convinced himself that none of this is his fault. He is already dreaming of Jurassic Park Europe, But as he walks near a steep ravine, something happens. He hears a terrifying, earth-shattering roar. Ruara, a T-Rex. Hammond panics. The fearless billionaire suddenly turns into a coward. He runs blindly into the jungle, terrified of being eaten. He trips, and he tumbles all the way down the steep hill, landing at the bottom of a deep, muddy ravine. Snap! He breaks his ankle. Hammond screams for help, but he is at the bottom of a ravine, and the waterfalls drown out his voice. No one knows he is out there. And the ultimate irony, that T-Rex roar he heard, it wasn't real. His grandson, Tim, was playing around in the control room and accidentally triggered a pre-recorded dinosaur roar over the park SPA system. Hammond wasn't chased by a monster. He was chased by his own shadow. He was chased by a theme park sound effect. But now he is trapped in the mud. He is helpless. And as he sits there, nursing his broken ankle, he hears a sound in the brush. A soft, rhythmic chirping. Hup, hup, hup. If you watched episode 1, you know exactly what that sound is. It's the Compsognathus, the compies, the scavengers, the baby eaters. A small pack of them emerges from the jungle. They look at Hammond. They aren't intimidating. They are the size of chickens. Hammond is furious. He yells at them. He throws a rock at them, trying to scare them away. Shoo, get out of here. But they don't leave. They just stare at him with their dead reptile eyes. One of them darts forward and nips Hammond on the hand. It's a tiny bite, barely breaks the skin. Hammond thinks nothing of it. But remember the book lore. The compies are venomous. Their saliva contains a powerful neurotoxin. Within minutes, Hammond starts to feel strange. A warm, peaceful numbness spreads up his arm. His chest feels heavy. He suddenly feels very, very sleepy. He tries to stand up, but his legs won't work. He slumps back into the mud. He is completely paralyzed, but he is still fully awake. The compies know the venom is working. They step out of the shadows. There aren't just 3 or 4 now. There are dozens of them. A massive swarm of little green scavengers. They climb onto his chest. They climb onto his face. And as John Hammond lies there, unable to move, unable to scream, he is forced to watch as his own creations begin to eat him alive. It is one of the most gruesome, perfectly fitting deaths in the history of science fiction. John Hammond, the man who thought he could control nature, the man who saw dinosaurs as nothing more than insects he trapped in amber, is killed by the smallest, most insignificant dinosaurs in the park. He is eaten by the very things he considered to be fleas. Nature found a way, and it had no mercy for the billionaire. The movie gave us a magical grandfather who learned his lesson. But Michael Crichton gave us a cautionary tale about the arrogance of wealth, ending in a muddy, blood-soaked ravine. But Hammond's death isn't even the most graphic scene in the book. Next time, in our final episode, we look at the true ending. We will cover the horrific, uncensored death of Dennis Nedry Ware. He literally holds his own intestines. And we will reveal the apocalyptic ending, where the Costa Rican military steps in and drops napalm on Isla Nublar. The park doesn't survive. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the brutal finale. And let me know in the comments, do you prefer the sweet movie Hammond or the evil billionaire from the book? Stay safe out there and stay out of the tall grass.